Your mind is a battlefield, a relentless forge that can craft you into a titan or grind you to nothing. It's your fiercest weapon, your truest shield, but left wild, it turns traitor, gnawing at your will in the dark hours of loss, despair, collapse. When the world cracks open beneath you, no guru, no screen, no savior rides in to haul you out. It's you against the storm, staring down the chaos within, seizing the reins of your own skull, or drowning in it. Most stumble through life as captives, shackled by their own heads. Fear steers their steps, feelings fog their sight, and the outside racket calls the shots inside. But a mind honed sharp doesn't flinch. It stands like iron against the gale, meets ruin with a snarl, turns the blade of hardship into a whetstone. The Stoics forged this truth in fire. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of Rome's sprawling might, faced blood, treachery, grief, yet his core never wavered. He scratched it raw. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Leave your mind untamed, and the world will leash it. Society's clamor, emotions' undertow, the endless buzz of distraction, all clawing to puppeteer the frail. But the unbreakable? They temper their thoughts like a blade, relentless as a fighter in the ring. They don't bend to the whims of fate. They grip their reality, mold it, make it bow. Here's the jagged edge of it. You either rule your mind or it rules you. You're the master or the slave. In this video, 7 Stoic hammers will smash your brittle old shell and recast it. Resilient, disciplined, a fortress no force can crack. Ready to rip weakness out by the roots and claim your own head? Let's forge it. Number 1, your mind is not your ally. If you don't train it, it will betray you. Your brain is designed for survival, not for greatness. Left unchecked, it will always take the path of least resistance. Avoiding pain, seeking comfort, procrastinating on difficult tasks. It doesn't care about your goals, your ambitions, or your potential. It only cares about keeping you safe, even if that means keeping you weak. If you do not take control and deliberately train your mind, it will betray you every time an obstacle appears. Think about the last time you set out to do something difficult, waking up early, going to the gym, studying a new skill. The moment discomfort kicked in, your mind likely started whispering, maybe tomorrow. It's not that important. You deserve a break. It wasn't trying to sabotage you maliciously. It was simply doing what it has been programmed to do. It looks for the easiest way out, the safest option, the path with the least struggle. But the problem is, that path leads nowhere. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your mind is not automatically working in your favor. It must be trained, disciplined, and forced to follow your will. If you don't, it will default to laziness, fear, and mediocrity. Look at elite soldiers, athletes, and high achievers. They were not born mentally unbreakable. They forced their minds into submission through repetition, struggle, and unwavering discipline. A Navy SEAL doesn't wake up one day immune to pain. He has conditioned his mind to keep pushing when everything inside him screams to stop. A fighter doesn't become great by avoiding hardship. He becomes great by embracing it. The difference between weak men and strong men is not genetics, luck, or intelligence. It is the ability to override the mind's natural weakness. Weak men listen to their excuses. Strong men crush them. If you wait for your mind to feel ready, you will wait forever. The only way to gain control is to attack your own resistance. When your brain tells you to stay in bed, get up faster. When it tells you to take a break, push twice as hard. When it tells you something is impossible, prove it wrong. Every time you override your instincts for comfort, you make your mind stronger. The world belongs to those who control their own thoughts. The rest are controlled by them. So ask yourself, are you the master of your mind or its prisoner? Number 2. Everything you fear is an illusion. Face it or be owned by it. Fear is not real. It does not exist outside of your mind. It has no physical form, no actual power, no ability to harm you, unless you allow it. Fear is a mental construct, a product of your brain's survival instincts. It exists only to warn you, but the problem is your mind cannot distinguish between a real threat and an imagined one. When you stand at the edge of a cliff, fear is useful. It prevents you from making reckless decisions. But when you fear failure, rejection, or discomfort, that fear is nothing but a self-imposed prison. Your mind creates worst-case scenarios, exaggerates dangers, and convinces you that inaction is the safest choice. And that is the greatest lie ever told. Psychologists have proven that fear grows in the absence of action. The more you avoid something, the more your brain reinforces the idea that it is dangerous. This is why people with phobias spiral into deeper anxiety. Their avoidance teaches their brain that the fear is valid. But the opposite is also true. The moment you face what you fear, your brain rewires itself. It learns that the fear was nothing but an illusion. Exposure therapy, one of the most effective treatments for anxiety, is built on this principle. The more you confront what you fear, the weaker that fear becomes until it disappears entirely. A study by neuroscientists at the University of Michigan found that 85% of the things people worry about never happen. And of the 15% that do, the majority are nowhere near as bad as expected. Your fears are false alarms, mental ghosts that only have power if you obey them. Stoicism teaches complete separation between emotion and reality. Only action has the power to dismantle fear. Think about the moments in life when fear stopped you. You wanted to speak up in a room full of people, but you hesitated. You wanted to ask for an opportunity, but you doubted yourself. You wanted to take a risk, but the idea of failure held you back. Every single time, what was the outcome? Nothing. You stayed where you were, unchanged, trapped by an enemy that wasn't even real. But the times you did push through, when you ignored the voice in your head and acted despite the fear, those were the moments that defined you. There's only one way to conquer fear: walk directly into it. If you run, it will chase you. If you hesitate, it will grow. If you allow it to linger, it will infest every part of your life. But the moment you step forward, the moment you act despite the fear, it begins to crumble. Because fear only has power over those who bow to it. Your brain will always try to deceive you. It will tell you that you are not ready, that you might fail, that you might be judged. But here's the truth. Fear never disappears before action. It disappears because of action. You do not wait to feel courageous. You move forward despite the fear, and in doing so, you become unstoppable. Most people live and die in the shadow of their fears. But those who train their minds, who refuse to be dictated by imaginary threats, become untouchable. You have two choices: be owned by fear or own your fear. Which will it be? Number 3. You are not special. If you don't work for it, you deserve nothing. You have been lied to. Since childhood, society has told you that you are special, unique, destined for greatness. But here's the truth. You are not special unless you make yourself special. The world does not owe you success, happiness, or recognition. If you do not work for something, you do not deserve it. And if you sit around waiting for fairness, you will be left behind. People love to say, "I deserve better," but deserve has nothing to do with it. The only thing that matters is what you earn through effort, discipline, and results. If you're out of shape, you do not deserve a strong body. If you have no skills, you do not deserve success. If you are mentally weak, you do not deserve respect. The harsh reality is that value is created, not given. The illusion of entitlement: why most people stay mediocre. John was the kind of person who believed life had been unfair to him. He worked a mediocre job, had mediocre health, and lived a mediocre life, yet he always blamed external factors for his situation. If only I had better connections, if only someone recognized my potential, if only life gave me a fair shot. But John never actually did anything. He wanted results without effort, rewards without sacrifice. Then one day, he ran into an old friend, Eric. Years ago, they were in the same place, but now Eric was thriving, financially independent, physically strong, mentally sharp. John asked, "Man, how did you get so lucky?" Eric laughed. "Lucky? You were with me when I started. You remember how I used to wake up at 5 a.m. to train while you slept in? How I worked on side projects while you played video games? How I read books while you scrolled social media? It was never about luck. The difference between us is that I stopped expecting life to hand me anything. I trained my mind to take responsibility and act." That conversation changed everything for John. He realized he had wasted years believing he was special instead of becoming special, and for the first time he took full ownership of his life. How to train your mind to stop expecting and start earning. 1. Eliminate the "I deserve" mentality. Whenever you catch yourself thinking, "I should have that," Replace it with, what have I done to earn that? Shift from expectation to execution. If you do not have what you want, it means you haven't worked for it hard enough. Period. 2. Develop ruthless self-accountability. No more blaming parents, economy, or society. No more excuses. If your life is not where you want it to be, look in the mirror. Every successful person in history had reasons to fail, but they refused to let circumstances define them. Your mind must be conditioned to see problems as personal challenges, not injustices. 3. Embrace the hardest path. Your brain naturally seeks the easiest route. Train yourself to do the opposite. Choose the harder workout, the tougher discipline, the path with the least comfort. The more you teach your mind to endure struggle, the stronger it becomes. 4. Destroy the waiting for motivation trap. Successful people do not rely on motivation, they rely on systems and habits. Your brain is lazy by default. It will tell you to wait for inspiration. Ignore it. Build routines so strong that action becomes automatic. 5. Measure your worth by results, not effort. People love saying, "At least I tried." But trying means nothing without results. Train your mind to measure success by tangible outcomes, not by how much effort you think you put in. The world does not reward effort, it rewards effectiveness. The power of ruthless ownership. If you train your mind to take full ownership of your life, something changes. You stop waiting, you stop expecting, you stop looking for shortcuts, handouts, and fairness. You develop a mindset of action, resilience, and power. And when that happens, you become dangerous. So ask yourself, are you waiting for life to give you something? Or are you training yourself to take what you want? Because in the end, only one of those mindsets will win. Number 4. Motivation is garbage. Only discipline determines your fate. If you rely on motivation to take action, you have already lost. Motivation is fleeting. It comes in waves, disappearing when things get hard, when you feel tired, when the excitement fades. That's why most people start strong and then quit. They wait to feel like it. They wait for the right mood, the right energy, the right inspiration. But the truth is, the ones who win are the ones who act regardless of how they feel. Consider 2 men who decide to get in shape. The first, Jake, starts with excitement. He buys new gym clothes, watches inspirational videos, and feels pumped for the first few days. But then the motivation starts to wear off. He skips one session, then another. Soon, he's back to his old habits, telling himself he'll start again next Monday. The second man, Daniel, understands that motivation is unreliable. He knows he won't always feel like training, so he sets a schedule and follows it no matter what. Rain or shine, tired or energized, he shows up. His brain tells him to rest, to skip, to take it easy, but he ignores it. Weeks turn into months, and while Jake has fallen back into mediocrity, Daniel has transformed himself. Because discipline does not care how you feel. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the control of your own mind." Most people are slaves to their emotions. If they feel motivated, they act. If they don't, they wait. But a disciplined man does not wait. He commands himself to act, and so he does. The greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the most powerful minds in history all understood one thing. The key to success is consistency, not inspiration. The ones who win are not the most talented, not the luckiest, but the ones who show up every single day, no matter what. If you train yourself to act without needing motivation, you become unstoppable. Because while others wait to feel ready, you are already miles ahead, building your empire brick by brick. Stop relying on motivation. Train yourself to move, to work, to build, even when you don't want to. That is what separates the weak from the strong. That is what determines your fate. Number 5. Negative thoughts don't come from the world, they come from you. Most people believe their misery comes from external events. Other people, bad luck, unfair circumstances. But the truth is, your suffering does not come from the world. It comes from your own mind. It is not what happens to you that makes you unhappy, but the way you choose to interpret it. 2 people can go through the same hardship, but one emerges stronger while the other breaks. The difference is not in the event itself, but in their mindset. No one can make you feel worthless unless you allow them to. No insult, no failure, no rejection has the power to define you unless you give it permission. The Stoics understood this, which is why they trained themselves to detach from the opinions of others and from circumstances beyond their control. Epictetus taught, People are disturbed not by things but by the views they take of them. The world is neutral. It simply is. You are the one who assigns meaning to it. Imagine two men lose their jobs on the same day. The first spirals into self-pity, convinced he is a failure. He blames the economy, his boss, his bad luck. He tells himself he is doomed and falls into depression. The second man, faced with the same event, takes a different approach. He sees it as an opportunity to reevaluate his life. He asks, "What can I learn from this? Where is my next opportunity?" He immediately starts planning his next move. The difference between these two men is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is mindset. One lets external events dictate his emotions. The other takes control of his own perception. This is the ultimate power, the ability to decide how you react, no matter what happens. If you constantly feel miserable, anxious, or frustrated, ask yourself, where are these feelings coming from? Are they coming from reality or from the story you are telling yourself about reality? If you feel like people disrespect you, is it because they actually do, or because you expect too much validation from others? If you think life is unfair, is it truly unfair? Or are you just unwilling to take responsibility for your circumstances? Your brain has been trained since childhood to seek problems. It is wired for survival, always scanning for threats. But in a modern world where physical danger is rare, this same survival mechanism now manufactures problems where none exist. It makes you overthink, doubt yourself, and assume the worst. If left unchecked, your mind will turn against you. That is why mental discipline is critical. The key is to train your mind to filter reality correctly. When something negative happens, pause before reacting. Instead of assuming the worst, question your first instinct. Is this truly bad, or is it just uncomfortable? Is this a disaster or an opportunity to grow? The moment you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your emotions. And when you control your emotions, you control your life. Weak people let their minds dictate their reality. They wake up in a bad mood and assume the whole day is ruined. They hear one negative comment and let it define their self-worth. But strong men understand that thoughts are just thoughts. They are not facts. You can observe them, challenge them, and replace them with better ones. If you want peace, stop looking for it in the world. It is not out there. It is within you, in the way you choose to interpret events. You cannot control the economy, other people, or random misfortunes, but you can control the way you react. That is real power. That is the difference between those who suffer and those who rise above. Which one will you choose? Number 6, radical responsibility. The key to personal power. Taking responsibility for your life is painful, but it is the only way to grow. Most people spend their lives blaming external factors, society, their upbringing, their bad luck. They search for excuses because excuses are comfortable. They tell themselves that life has been unfair, that others had it easier, that their failures weren't really their fault. But deep down, they know the truth. The only constant in every situation is them. If your life is not where you want it to be, there is only one person to blame, the person staring back at you in the mirror. And that realization stings. But it is also the moment you take back your power. Because as long as you blame external forces, you remain powerless. The second you take ownership, you gain control. David Goggins, one of the toughest men alive, understood this. He grew up in an abusive household, faced racism, struggled in school, and was overweight as an adult. He had every reason to blame his circumstances. But one day he looked in the mirror and was disgusted by what he saw. He saw a weak man, a man who had let life beat him down. And instead of making excuses, he asked himself a brutal question. What if I stopped lying to myself? That moment changed everything. He took complete responsibility for his failures. He didn't blame his genetics, his past, or the world. He owned every mistake, every excuse, every missed opportunity. And once he did that, he realized something powerful. If I created this weak version of myself, I can create a stronger one. This is the mindset shift that separates the strong from the weak. The weak hide behind excuses. The strong face themselves with brutal honesty. Most people never do this. They avoid looking too closely at themselves because they don't want to admit how much of their suffering is self-inflicted. They avoid mirrors, both literal and metaphorical, because the reflection is uncomfortable. But discomfort is necessary for growth. The The moment you see your flaws, you gain the ability to change them. The easiest way to measure your level of responsibility is to examine your language. Do you often say, "It's not my fault"? Do you think in terms of if only, instead of what can I do? Do you find yourself blaming bad luck, other people, or circumstances? If so, you are avoiding responsibility, and as long as you do that, you will remain stuck. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything that happens. It means accepting that no matter what happens, your response is your choice. It means refusing to wait for others to fix your problems. It means deciding right now that you are in charge of your future. If you are unhappy with your body, take responsibility and fix it. If you are broke, take responsibility and learn how to make money. If you are mentally weak, take responsibility and train your mind. No one else will do it for you. No one is coming to save you. But that is a good thing, because it means no one can stop you either. When you finally accept full ownership of your life, something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. Because when there is no one left to blame, there is nothing left to wait for. You either change or you don't. The choice is yours. But understand this, those who refuse to take responsibility for their lives will always be controlled by those who do. Which side do you want to be on? Number 7. Life is finite. If you don't live with urgency, you are wasting time. Most people live as if they have endless time. They procrastinate, delay their ambitions, and put off the things that matter most. They tell themselves, "I'll start tomorrow. I have plenty of time. Someday I'll get to it." But here's the brutal truth. You don't know how much time you have left. And if you are not living with urgency, you are wasting the most precious resource you will ever have. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Stoicism embraces memento mori, the practice of remembering that you will die. Not to create fear, but to create focus. Because when you truly internalize your mortality, you stop wasting time on things that don't matter. Imagine you are given a countdown clock, showing exactly how many days, hours, and minutes you have left to live. How would you act differently? Would you still waste hours scrolling through social media, engaging in pointless arguments, or waiting for the perfect moment to chase your goals? Or would you wake up every morning with a fire inside you, knowing that each day is an opportunity that will never come again? Look at the average person. They complain about their job but stay in it for decades. They talk about getting in shape but keep pushing it off. They dream of traveling, starting a business, or learning a skill but always find a reason to delay. Then one day, they wake up and realize their best years are behind them. Their dreams are now regrets and their time is gone. Now think about someone who lives with urgency. He understands that he could die tomorrow, so he does not waste time on trivial things. He speaks with purpose, acts with intensity, and moves toward his goals without hesitation. He does not wait for motivation, he creates momentum. He does not seek validation, he seeks mastery. He does not postpone his life, he lives it. Seneca, another great Stoic, said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." The problem is not that life is too short, it's that most people waste years on things that don't serve them. Fear, laziness, distractions, the opinions of others, these are the chains that keep people stuck in mediocrity. But the moment you accept that your time is limited, you break free. Ask yourself, if you knew for certain that you only had a year left to live, how would you spend it? Would you finally start that project? Take that risk? Say the things you've been holding back? Now ask yourself, why aren't you already living that way? What are you waiting for? A guarantee? A perfect moment? That moment will never come. The only time you have is now. Every day you hesitate, every opportunity you let pass, every hour spent on meaningless distractions, it all adds up. And one day, you will wish you had that time back. But it will be too late. You will not be able to buy more time. You will not get a second chance. The only thing you will have left is what you did with the time you were given. This is why urgency is power. A man who lives with urgency does not tolerate excuses. He does not entertain nonsense. He does not seek comfort. He moves, he builds, he dominates. While others drift through life, waiting for things to happen, he forces things to happen. He is not reckless, he is deliberate. He does not act out of panic, he acts out of purpose. The weak will tell you, you have time, don't stress about it. But the strong know that time is slipping away, second by second. Every day you live with urgency, you separate yourself from the masses. Every moment you use wisely, you build a future that others will envy. Every decision you make with awareness of your mortality brings you closer to true greatness. So the question is, are you living as if you have forever? Or are you living as if every second matters? Because one of those mindsets will lead to a life of regret, and the other will make you unstoppable. The choice is yours. Conclusion: train your mind or live in weakness. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your most dangerous enemy. If you do not train it, it will control you. It will flood you with fear, doubt, and hesitation. It will convince you to settle, to wait, to remain in comfort while life passes you by. But when you take control, when you forge your mind through discipline and action, you become unshakable. You stop reacting and start deciding. You stop waiting and start executing. Stoicism is not a theory. It is not a set of ideas to discuss and forget. It is a discipline, a way of life, a system of training that transforms you from a victim into a ruler of your own existence. Most people will never do this. They will stay trapped in the same cycles, the same habits, the same excuses. But those who embrace this mindset, who commit to the path of self-mastery, rise above. You have two choices. You can continue living as a prisoner of your emotions, your doubts, your past conditioning, or you can take full control and dominate yourself before the world dominates you. One leads to weakness, the other to power. The decision is yours. If this message resonates with you, subscribe to Victory Stoic. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And most importantly, apply it. The strongest version of you is waiting, but only if you have the discipline to build it.